Hello and welcome back to another Project Diablo 2 video. I am Kordesh and today we are going to be going over 5 tips to map more efficiently. Now I did want to throw out a disclaimer. If mapping is taking you longer than 30 minutes, then you probably should do a lower tier map or go back to the LOD content. Tip number 1, roll all of your maps at one time before you start mapping. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about tip number 1. So when we're deciding to roll all of our maps at once, it does two things. So the first thing is it dictates how long we're going to be playing the game. And normally I like to keep my mapping sessions around 1 hour. And I can normally do a map in about 15 minutes, so that means I'm looking for 4 different maps. Now the maps that I want on my Warcry Barbarian are ones that don't really have fizz immunes. I can break them, but it's just easier if I don't. So we're going to go ahead and grab 4 maps. And I've already rolled this one, so we're going to keep that over there. But as you can see, these are white and blue maps. So since we're going to roll these all at once, I can go ahead and grab all of my orbs, grab my jewel fragments, grab my, perfect gems, all my materials that I need to roll these maps, and I can just go to town and go for it. So I'll throw the blue item in, magic to rare, which requires a perfect skull and a rune, and transmute. So we've got a 171. That's probably good enough. I think that's fine. And then we're going to go ahead and take these out. And we're going to roll these two. So white to rare requires a jewel and a rune. Jewel and a rune. And it's 166. That's okay. I'll probably try and re-roll that. But I stick in the other white map. 235. Perfect. So now I want to re-roll this last one. I'm going to throw it in. Re-roll a rare map, which requires a sapphire and a rune. And 235. Perfect. So now I'm done rolling maps. And I know that I'm going to run these 4 maps back to back to back and grind for an hour. This is going to save me plenty of time in the long run, because if you're trying to roll these maps in between every map that you run, you might have a 5-minute break. You might be playing with other people and they're just waiting for you to roll maps. Like, it's wasting everyone's time. So go ahead, roll all your maps at once, and know exactly how many maps you want to run in your grinding session. If you don't know where to get these orbs, Anya in Act 5 will sell them to you. And as you can see, they cost quite a bit of money. I would recommend buying these orbs from other players unless you have a good gold find strategy. So I can showcase my gold find strategy because I have a character that is very easily able to do that and farm gold to buy them. But if you don't, I would just recommend buying them from other players. Tip number 2, corrupt your maps. Using Worldstone shards to corrupt your maps can yield incredible results. So I have the map corruptions right here, and as you can see, a lot of these will increase density, and that's what, in my opinion, is the most important. Secondarily, you can get some interesting stuff like attack and cast speed, which honestly I don't really care for. The velocity is nice because it helps you run around faster, but normally you've already achieved your cast speed or attack speed breakpoints, so this is kind of unnecessary. And for tier 1 maps, we're looking at the top one. Tier 2, we're looking at the middle. Tier 3, we're looking at the third. So, yeah, really we're just looking to add density or magic find or gold find, or even experience is nice. So let's go ahead and corrupt these maps. So we have them in here. Worldstone shard. Let's go ahead and, oops, sorry. Go ahead and put the map in, and we're going to corrupt it. Sometimes you do have to hit the transmute button twice. I feel like it's positioning the items where they need to go and then using it. So for this one, we've got, it looks like we got an experience boost. We're up to 25% experience. For this one, 12, 171, 88. And we go to 289, so almost 111 extra density, so that's fantastic. This one, 14, 235, 59. 291, and the experience went up as well, so that's a fun map, almost 300 density. And the last one, 11, 235, 148, 11, 290, 155, so really just upgrades all around. And yeah, this is a very cheap and easy way to make your maps better and more efficient, because the more dense they are, the more chances you have to kill monsters to get high runes. And yeah, it's just fantastic. It makes your maps just better and increases your map drops and your map sustain. Tip number 3, make sure you don't lose your maps. Alright, when I'm talking about not losing your maps, I'm talking about two things. The first is when you make a game, every game has a duration left on the game existing for you to continue playing in it. So when you make a game, make sure that there's enough time. It's often best to just make a game and then immediately go and open the map and then start crushing it. If the time remaining in the game is not enough for you to complete a map, you need to make a new game or try and switch servers if it's continually giving you a very low number. The second thing that you should do is check the Project Diablo 2 Discord for announcements, because if there is a patch coming out or the servers need to go down, it's very important that you know that and check that before running maps. If not, you could easily lose a map, and that would suck. Tip number 4, use a strict loot filter. Using a loot filter is incredibly important. I've talked about it a number of times, but so earlier on you could see using Crizzards, it's much easier to roll maps when you can tell which immunities they have. So that makes step 1, rolling your maps, a lot easier. But actually mapping is also a ton easier. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what max filter looks like. And so I'm going to go run around and we're going to kill a pack or two. And so these packs of monsters are dying. And as you can see, it has shown me a flawless ruby and some antidote potions. Really nothing's really showing up. Now if we go all the way back and get out of harm's way, I'm going to go ahead and put this on show all items. Now, I don't know if it actually works with monsters being killed, but I'll kill some more monsters. And as you can see, there's just a goddamn loot pinata everywhere. And most of the stuff I don't care about. So, if you're spending a lot of time trying to figure out what the hell dropped, is it worth money, is it worth nothing, you're going to waste so much time. It's so much better to use a very strict loot filter. And I love the Crizzards loot filter, but honestly, even the max strictness is not strict enough for me. So a friend of mine is working on a loot filter that he's used a little bit of Crizzards and a couple of other stuff, but he's really building it from the ground up, and it's going to be incredibly strict. And that's because when we smash maps, we really want to see stuff that is worth picking up, worth slamming, or worth money. We don't really want to stop at all. We just want to blast maps. So again, loot filters are incredibly important. Use one, use Crizzards. It's incredible. Tip number 5, use a dump tab. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about a dump tab. Now, if you played Path of Exile, this is a fairly common concept. But in Project Diablo 2, the way that I like to use a dump tab is I like to dump items into a personal tab as I'm mapping. So say I'm mapping, I'm grinding, I'm finding good items, and they're filling up my inventory in my cube. It's very easy for me to just dump everything into the personal tab, and then from there, I can go to my rune/gems tab and go ahead and shift right click, and it'll automatically put those items where they need to go. And I've just cleared out my entire character inventory instantly, and I can go back into mapping. So we go back in, we're back to mapping. Now, when it's in my personal inventory, none of it is listed for trade. I am not going to price these out or do anything with them until after I am done mapping. When I am mapping, I'm only focusing on that. When I am finished with it, I'll then focus on what items I found, pricing those out, and once I price these out, I take them from my personal and I'll go ahead and put them in one of these later stash tabs. So that's how a dump tab works for me, and I find that it's very easy to keep up your kind of rhythm with your mapping. If you are enjoying my content, I'd really appreciate if you would hit that subscribe button, mainly so I don't have to spam Reddit or Discord or anywhere else, and you could just get my videos whenever I post them. Anyways, that's it for the 5 tips for more efficient mapping. I hope that you learned something, and I'll see you next time.